Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel Mo Digging. It's good to see you once again. This week's video is going to be just a little bit different. I'm actually going to go over all my cool finds that I found throughout 2022. I've got them in a display case, and we're going to take a little bit of time to go over all my interesting finds throughout the year. So let's get straight to it. And there is my display case, everybody, with all my finds from 2022, all my better finds. I've got all sorts of stuff in here, coins and tokens and jewelry and relics and stuff like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to split this up a little bit and show off each category individually. So give me just a moment. I think I'm going to show off my coins first, some of the more interesting coins that I found in 2022. So let's go straight to that. And there is my board, you guys, with all of my silver coins and some of my more unusual American coins. We're going to go around here just a little bit and take a look at everything. 2022 was not a great year for silver coins, unfortunately, but I did get myself my second ever Barber half dollar, a 1902 New Orleans mint. There's a little O down there, so pretty cool. Only the second one of those I've ever found. I only found 3 silver quarters in the entire year. Unfortunately, I went out to a lot of places that I've dug before, so I just did not find a whole lot of silver coins, but that's all right. Still found a lot of pretty interesting stuff, so got 3 of those. I got myself 2 Barber dimes, a 1907 Denver mint, I believe. Yeah, a little D down there. And a 1914 Denver mint Barber dime. These were actually about 10 feet away from each other, so I assume they were probably a spill. That one's got a little bit of wear to it, but the other one's really in pretty good shape, so pretty neat coins right there. Neat old spill. Got myself, I believe, 10 silver dimes. 1935 was the oldest, in terms of mercury dimes, I should say. So got a couple of those. Got myself some Roosevelts. Just did not find a lot of silver coins this year, unfortunately. Here's a bucket lister. I have always wanted to find a silver coin with King George VI on it. And I finally accomplished that goal this year. Not a huge bucket lister, but I will take it. That's pretty neat. Neat old Canadian coin. A little dime there. I think that's 80% silver. There's a few altered coins. A 1939 wheat penny that's been cut up into just a little sliver right there. And there's just a clad dime that's been cut up. I got myself some war nickels right here. These are 35% silver war nickels. They do not survive in the ground very well, most of them. There's a few in there that are really in pretty good shape, but the majority are kind of tarnished or beaten up. But I believe I got 10 of those this year. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so I got 10 silver war nickels. Got myself some buffalo nickels. These are always fun to pop out of the ground. This was probably my best year for those ever. Not sure how many I have here, but I got a nice little row of those. That one actually was sitting on top of the ground. Dug that up actually found it a few weeks ago, didn't dig it up. And then I got myself 2 V nickels. What is that, a 1906 and a 1902? So pretty neat. I do like finding the V nickels. They don't come out of the ground very often around here. And I did also get myself a first year production wheat cent, 1909, no VDB on the reverse, but got a first year wheatie. Pretty cool. Here's all my dollar coins. I think I found 16 of those this year. Just kind of a hodgepodge of different things. A lot of these were actually found like sitting in the grass or in the wood chips, so a lot of them are in pretty good shape. A few of them have obviously come out of the ground, but got myself some dollar coins. And then I got myself 3 Kennedy half dollars. None of them are silver, unfortunately. These 2 were in the wood chips, and then that one actually came out of the ground. So got a few Kennedys, pretty coins. And then I was going to come over here and show you guys this stuff. I dug up about $400 or $500 in clad change this year, and I cashed most of that in. I bought a few interesting things. I decided to buy myself a little gold bar, 1 gram. Not much gold, but it's something I've always wanted to do with some of my clad change, is buy a little gold bar. I bought myself a 1934 Peace dollar and an 1891 Morgan dollar. I got myself this interesting coin this year, an 8 real. I decided to buy that with my clad change from 1861. It's a Mexican coin. I bought myself a seated quarter from 1858. Really pretty coin. I do love the coins from that era. There's a capped bust dime from 1834. Beautiful coin. Pretty worn out though, but still a neat coin. Bought myself a few semi-key date walkers this year, 1919D. Kind of worn out, but they didn't make a whole lot of those. Same with this coin, 1929D. Another one that's kind of a semi-key date. I have been wanting to complete my collection for the walkers, and these were a few that I needed. Bought myself a 2 real from 1774, 1909 O Barber half dollar. Another one that's kind of a, not necessarily semi-key date, but this is the last year of production for the New Orleans Mint. There's a really pretty 1911. And then I got myself a Trime right there, a little Trime from, what year is it, 1852. Pretty worn out, but neat coin nonetheless. Tiny silver coin that the U.S. made. There's a large cent from 1840. Cool coin. And then last of all, I got myself a capped bust half dollar from 1829. Pretty cool coin. I do like collecting those. So, like I always tell you guys, if you dig a lot of clad change, you can turn it in and buy some pretty cool old coins. So that's what I like to do. All right, up next, I think we're going to go to my jewelry that I found for 2022 and take a look at that. Well, everybody, here are my more interesting pieces of jewelry that I found for 2022. We're going to go around the board here a little bit. But first, I'm going to show you guys this. Here is my biggest piece of silver that I found for the year. It's an Indian bracelet made of silver. You can see there's an elephant right there and a dancer and just all sorts of interesting images on there. But that is actually the biggest piece of silver that I pulled out of the ground for the year, a big silver bracelet. Pretty cool. Kind of bent up, unfortunately. I got some other cool kind of strange finds here. There's a little baby ring. It's not actually made of gold. It's just plated, but neat find. Little tiny ring. Here is a little aluminum kids ring that I pulled out of the ground. It's from a Hanna-Barbera television show from the 1950s and 60s. There it's got Mr. Jinx the cat. It's from a television show called Pixie and Dixie and Mr. Jinx. So a Hanna-Barbera cartoon from the 1950s and 60s. Pretty cool find. One of my favorites, actually. There's a titanium wedding band. There's a tungsten wedding band. And there's a stainless steel wedding band. So not every wedding band that you find is actually made of anything of much value. Here is my gold for the year. I got myself 5 pieces of gold. There's a 10-carat ring right there. There's a 14-karat gold wedding band. There's a little 10-karat gold ring with some pearls on it. Here's my only diamond ring that I found for the year. A little tiny woman's wedding ring, I think is what that is. No information in it, but it is 14K. And here's actually probably my favorite find for the year. I got myself a piece of gold from the 1800s. This was out at an old homestead site. It tested as 10-karat gold. It's a little tiny pin from that era. Really neat find, very ornate. Missing some stones, but really cool find. The other thing I was going to point out about finding gold like this, every single piece of gold that you see here, I would not have dug up, except that I was digging the low tones. And look over here. Here are all the pull tabs that I pulled out of the ground throughout the year. I managed to fill 4 Folger coffee cans with pull tabs. There's thousands and thousands of pull tabs here. So if you want to find gold, you got to dig the low tones. You got to dig those trash signals, because that's what they ring up as, all these pieces of gold. They were just low tones. So managed to find about 1/4 of an ounce of gold throughout the year, which is pretty cool. It looks like gold, but that's actually a silver earring right there. Another piece of silver that I'm not entirely sure about. That might be another earring. Little silver star. There's a little earring with some silver in it. Silver turtle, which is kind of cool. It is marked 925 on the other side somewhere. Little cross. There's a piece of a silver spoon. Interesting find. There's all my rings, silver rings for the year. All sorts of neat things. Not terrible. I'm not going to go into great detail about these rings. Most of them are just kind of generic cheapies. Probably my best 2 are these right here. These are kind of more of a designer rings. Pretty ring. And there's one with like a little opal. Pretty. All in all, there's not a whole lot of value here. They're all just kind of generic silver rings. There's a little dream catcher, some silver roses, little tiny bits of different things, little pendant right there, a little tiny earring, not hoop earring, but silver earring, some old silver. That's part of utensil probably, maybe part of an old cup. Mark Sterling right there. There's like some Mayan Aztec-y bracelet that I pulled out of the ground about a month or two ago. Little silver earring right there, little tiny pendant, some little piece off of something that's silver. Here's a really kind of pretty pendant that I found on a silver necklace. I thought it was gold when I first pulled it out of the ground, but it is just 925 with some plating. So that's all right though. Got myself some ladies' watches. I love finding these actually, these like circa 1950s to 1960s ladies' watches. They're really kind of pretty, and I love how dainty they are. They're pretty neat little finds. That one's actually plated in rhodium over here, so pretty cool. Rhodium is about $12,000 an ounce, so not a lot of stuff is too heavily plated with rhodium anymore, but got those two ladies' watches. I got myself this little bracelet here, which is kind of neat. It's $925. And then right there is a silver necklace and a silver bracelet that I kind of hooked together. So all in all, I found a few pieces of silver and a few pieces of gold. And it was really a pretty good year. My goal every year is to find 5 pieces of gold, and thankfully I accomplished that goal. Up next, I think I'm going to show off some of the tokens and interesting foreign coins that I've dug up. We have certainly got a diversity of foreign coins and tokens here, so let's go around the board just a little bit. Got some cool stuff up here. This was kind of a disappointment, though. A big aluminum token from 1998 from the downhill skiing competition. It's pretty beat up. I think it went through the lawnmower, unfortunately. Thought I had myself a big silver dollar when I popped that out of the ground, but still kind of a cool find. There's a Lakota bullion copper coin, I guess you would call that. Kind of a strange find. Never found one of those before, but it's about an ounce of copper. And then there's a Reader's Digest aluminum token, another coin that you pop out of the ground and you think you've got a big silver coin, but unfortunately not. Here's a few flattened pennies right here. One from Silver Dollar City here in Missouri, Kansas City. There's the trolley. Something from the movie Frozen, a flattened coin there from Disney. Something from the Shed Aquarium in Chicago. And there's Mount Rushmore right there, National Memorial. This is actually just a flattened penny, nothing on it. Probably from the railroad, somebody said on the railroad tracks. Here are my foreign coins. Got some pretty cool stuff here. There's a few Mexican coins. There is a coin from Peru. There's one from Colombia. There's one from West Germany. Pretty neat. Never found a coin from there before. There's a German 5 euro cent coin. I think that's actually steel plated with a little bit of copper. Dominican Republic, England, 2 new pence. Here's a really weird one. A coin from Jersey, the island of Jersey. Never thought I would ever dig up something like that here in Missouri. 1986, Queen Elizabeth II on there. I believe that's South Africa, another steel coin. Yeah, South Africa. 2 euros, 2 euro, two coins. Some francs. These are both made of nickel. 1971 and 1977. Dug those up at 2 totally different locations, so I was very surprised to pull 2 of those out of the ground this year. I believe that's from Switzerland, Swiss right there. Somebody's wearing that as on a necklace as a charm. A little hole through it. Pretty neat find. Spain, Venezuela. I think that's from Bali. It's supposed to be like a Chinese cash coin, but it's actually like an offering piece. In Guatemala. And then here's all my some Canadian quarters, Canadian nickel as a dime, and then a bunch of pennies from up there in Canada. They're just the 1 cent coins. Here are my tokens. Got some interesting tokens this year. Bacardi, Cece's Pizza, Minor Mike's, a gaming token, a family amusement center, some laundry tokens, Chuck E. Cheese, good for 1 pint milk, Bailey's. I got some pizza tokens, Showbiz Pizza tokens, 2 of those. Carousel token, Chuck E. Cheese again, Pin Pan Alley, an old arcade token, Robo Car Wash token, generic kind of gaming token. There's a neat one, Crown Recreation, it's out of St. Louis, good for 2.5 cents a store credit. That's early 1900s. Can't think of the name of that. Some other gaming tokens. Oh, Aladdin's Castle is what that's from. Some other gaming tokens. There's a car wash token. That's a really old St. Louis token, but I don't have a positive identification on it. Good for 25 cents, though. Iron Mike's pitching token, another Showbiz Pizza. And then there's actually 2 play dimes from the 1950s or 60s, made of aluminum. And then right here, I've got some Missouri sales tax tokens. These are mills, so they're fractional cents. They actually introduced these when sales tax became a thing, and people were actually using tenths of cents. That's what a mill is. That's a tenth of a cent, and then the ones with the hole in them are actually half of a cent. So kind of cool, kind of a strange thing that you pull out of the ground when you're out metal detecting, these tokens and foreign coins, but still like finding them. Last of all, we're going to go to my relics, some of the strange relics that I found throughout the year. I am going to try not to go into a tremendous amount of detail for every little thing on this board, but we got all sorts of little things I wanted to show off. There's some toe taps from like the 1800s, some old buckles. There's a piece off of garter, like circa 1900. There's a little Dungeons and Dragons figurine. These are connectors for like a Model T battery. Batman and Superman pendant right there. Armand lip and cheek rouge. Some sort of like Tractor Supply medallion. 1921 Otsego County, Michigan animal tag. Engineer's pin. Little Ranger Patrol aluminum badge. These are all some military stuff. There's my favorite piece of military for the year. I got a Civil War button, which is kind of cool, just general service. Don't find that kind of stuff around here too much. Marines button, some lead seals. There's a little identification aluminum tag from like the 1920s. Toy gun. There are some kind of interesting little creatures and things like that. There's a Pokemon. There's a Puerto Rican frog. Piglet, Tigger, Minnie Mouse. There's a cream oil token for soap from like the 1930s. Some live ammunition. There's another toy gun. There's the Pepper Potts gun out of the game of Monopoly. Fried egg earring. What else do we have? There's an anchor. There's a really crude cross right there. Some sort of strange little badge or pin. Here's my scouting stuff, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts. So there's for the brownies, I think that is where that's from. So kind of cool stuff right there. Boy Scouts, I'm a Boy Scout myself, made it to Eagle. There's a hem weight made of lead. Kind of a strange little arrowhead there with a fake Indian head cent in the middle of it. Elvis aluminum thing right there. All sorts of weird stuff. You just never know what you're going to pull out of the ground. Harmonica reed, and there's a tiny harmonica reed. There's a big fake 1909 souvenir penny from Washington, D.C. that came out of the ground. They were actually, these two pieces were a few feet from each other. Little toy car. Got me some more other pieces out of the game of Monopoly. There's the wheelbarrow, and there's the top hat right there. Little aluminum American flag. There's half of a game controller. Here's one of the reflectors off of an old bicycle, probably from the 1950s, I would say. So kind of a neat find right there. Here's probably one of my favorite relics of the whole year, a Victrola key for where you'd actually use this to store the discs in a Victrola. That would be the key to get it open. There's a Sphinx medallion. There's a little tiny weight. Not sure about how much that weighs. A jack that came out of the ground with some stuff. A little 4-H pin right there. There's a 1914 animal tag. Fire Department Boy Chief badge. Found that right at the end of the year. All sorts of weird stuff here in the middle. There's a late 1800s train tag, baggage tag. I'm not even sure what that is. That's a Wiccan medallion. Not sure about that one either. Here's a weird find too. Paddle Club from Kansas City, Missouri, or Regatta. Not sure about the age in that, but I want to say it's probably from the early 1900s, maybe from the teens. So really odd find. Got me a few flat buttons this year. There's actually an older one that's probably from the late 1700s or early 1800s. So that's the oldest one. Probably my oldest find of the year. There's a little cameo brooch. Kind of neat. A little broken, but That's also pretty old. It's probably from the early 1900s, late 1800s. Not sure about that. I thought that was a piece of gold when I pulled it out of the ground, but it's actually just plated. It's kind of a hard thing to see, but that's actually a little girl's head. And it's got a name on it, Rosie, and I think a date from 1956. So that's actually like a little medallion that some girl would wear years ago, probably from the 60s. Not sure about that one. Create. This was on a little chain, this little skeleton key made of iron. Pretty cool. Neat find right there. This is from Mexico, Missouri from 1910 from the Eagles, or not the Eagles, the Elks, just after they were founded. So a little souvenir from their convention in 1910. Did I cover most everything? I don't want to go into extreme detail, but found a lot of really interesting relics throughout the year and had a good year, had a lot of fun. Hopefully 2023 is just as good or even better. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye now.